I was going to start off with, guess you're all wondering why I gathered you guys.
I have something to say about that.
My last and I want to see you in my office when we get back.
That's the second one. I told Ian, I said, start your speech with, I guess you're wondering why I gathered here. That's my fault.
Now, as I speak to you tonight, I'm going to be using my hands, so you need to move away. I don't get this because I'm in Italy, because I'm Italian, but I'm going to be using my hands. All right, so you got to have to move over. When in Rome.
This is Luca.
That's
You
one.
said it first, though.
That's one.
That's a song. We were waiting.
All right, as I speak to you tonight, I'm definitely going to cry.
I'll cry with you. Wait, should we cry now and get it over with?
You had me at I'm gonna cry. I'm not sad.
You got this, man. Come on.
See, I have Christ in my heart.
Oh, say it again.
When I talk about my loved ones, my family and friends,
You've got
it just comes out into emotions, so be ready for it. I'm going to cover my orifices as best I can. You're going to see me go into here and I'm going to make funny faces and I'm going to stop it, but it's almost like how Lauren sneezes.
It's kind of crazy her sneeze.
It's normal.
Anybody ever seen the movie Stripes?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's John Candy. He's Dewey Oxburger, and he's sitting there talking to his platoon, and everybody's introducing themselves, and he says, "Well, you know, I have a weight problem," and everyone goes, "No, no, no, no," and he goes, "Yeah, I do." All right. So I'm going to say something instead of you guys saying no, no. You're going to say, "Yeah, you are." Right? I'm not Lauren's real father. No, I'm not. Lauren's father, Marty, passed away when she was 2.
I'm gonna make me cry.
He was a big, muscular, athletic man with a kind and gentle heart. And the only reason why I know that is just from seeing a picture. And Exhibit A. Oops. What's that? You can pass this around. But I hope I represented Lauren's family, or not Lauren's family, but Marty's family on his behalf, being an acceptable father to Lauren.
Yeah, you did.
I brought Lauren up like my father brought me up. God, love, and discipline. And that's where your discipline came in tonight.
I'm scared shit is wrong with my shit.
I was a disciplinary man, and that's the way my father brought me up. But I think the best thing I did for Lauren growing up is I loved her mother.
She's so cute.
All right, I got that one out of the way. Funny story, we had open house with Lauren, and I went to Mr. Perrin's class. Mr. Perrin taught me when it's 35 years ago, same teacher, and I walked in. He taught me, I walked in and I said, "Oh yeah, how's she doing?" He's like, "Oh Ron, she's so cute. She's not doing well, but she's so cute." He would say, "She's struggling here and there, but Ron, she's so nice." And then he said, "You know what? She looks exactly like you."
Wait a minute, can I say something? Everybody said Lauren looks just like her dad, Ronnie. You're identical. I'm like, yeah, she does. They did. They don't.
Some of the things she would do though is she would say, you have to help me out with this, but she would say, we're going to the zoo, are we? She would like ask a question and answer it with a question. Mom, I like ice cream. Do I?
And we would just say, yeah? You said it.
So now she's 4, and this is how God brought me to Chris and Lauren. So the first time I met Chris was, does anybody know where the Vasta was in Dormont? You might know because your grandparents lived there. The Vasta was a bar on the left side and a restaurant on the right side. So you would go dance until 2 in the morning, and then you just open up the door and walk in and eat breakfast. So I worked for a cable company, and I went out with 15 technicians. And I go out with these 15 technicians. It's 2 in the morning. We go to this dance party, and I walk in and I see Chris dancing with her friend on the floor, and I just look at her and I walk up to her. And these 15 guys, they follow me up to her. And I walk up to her.
She's from Tessie Mountain. She's wild.
I'm gonna need a water. And I walk up to her and I say, all right, you're in an elevator and you're going up to the 6th floor, and you're in the elevator with me and these 15 guys, okay? And we're going up to the 6th floor, and all of a sudden the elevator breaks down. The police, the firemen, they're trying to get us out. They can't get us out. A day goes by. We're in the elevator. All of a sudden, you feel like kissing someone. Not making love, just kissing someone. And I went, which one do you pick? She looked at me and went, you. And that's how we met. And then we went home, and our first kiss was... Our first kiss was unreal. Kissing, and it's so good, and I'm on my game, and it's so slow. And she's looking into my eyes, and I'm looking into her eyes, and we're making out, and I'm looking at her, and it's so awesome. She looks at me and says, how did you break your nose?
It's hereditary.
And I knew that was the girl for me.
I like a crooked nose.
Character. I'm there with you.
And then I wasn't allowed to see Lauren she was 4, and I wasn't allowed to see her for a whole month as she wasn't into me seeing her. So one time we're just watching a movie, and Lauren's upstairs sleeping, and we played that Russian roulette game. Hopefully she wouldn't come down, but she came down that first time, and she peeked her head around the corner, and she was like, with that smile, and she ran over and hugged her mother, and like, who is this guy? And I am not kidding you. Stop it. Yeah, she did say that.
Who's that?
And I looked like, I am not kidding you, I looked like Edward Norton from American History X. My head was shaved, and I had a goatee.
He did look scary. My mom thought he was from the Middle East. My mom goes, where's he from, Iraq?
And putting her to bed at night was rough, because she just would not go to bed. She would come out, and she would always sit at the top of the steps, and she would say, hey! That was my name. Hey. That's my name today still. Hey. That's my name. And she would say, hey, you there? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm down here. Okay. Get to bed, Lauren. And she would just stay at the top of the steps, and she would just, every 5 minutes or every minute, "Hey, are you there?" And she would fall asleep at the top of the steps, and we'd have to go up and pick her up and put her into bed.
Do you have the time in there with a storm outside with you and Laura?
Oh, that was gunfire.
Sam, will you be careful what you say? Because that's in here. But it's not yet. Okay? I mean, she has incredible work ethic.
She
She's good at
does.
everything she does. She's one of the funniest people I know. She should be on SNL, but it
Not
doesn't
everybody
come out
gets
all
to
the
see
time.
it.
It's a very rare.
No.
It comes out, and
It's true.
it's a belly laugh like you have never seen.
Yes, it does.
It's true.
It's just
It's
weird.
very-
She's
She's
weird, and I don't want to scare you.
Give me the character.
I'll scare you all. It's fine.
There's 13
You
of them.
can never know it.
There's at least 13.
They always say that, you know, they always turn out like their mother, and I feel like, Michael, you just hit the spouse sweepstakes. Oh.
That's so special.
Now we have Michael, because the first time I ever met Michael was, we were from a big family, and we were over my brother Ricky's, and there's 50 people here, and it's the first time I met him. And
Yeah, Lauren, that was
he walks
rough.
in.
Hey,
She's
you
like,
gotta
"How
break
often
them
I
in
take you to
early.
an event?"
She said F it.
Just gotta break them in.
He walks
throw
in,
'em
and
there.
I just look at him, and I go, "So you're the guy that owns the house that my daughter sleeps in every night that doesn't come home?" And I just look at him like this,
You imagine.
What house would you do?
and he goes like this. He's got that smile. I mean, they both have that same. They both have probably the best smiles I've ever seen in my whole life. And he just laughs, and I'm just looking at him like this.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
And he's like,
I'm still terrified, but smiling to hide it.
Ronnie, just like I wish I had
Yeah,
that bald
Michael
head
does
and
have a
junior.
very great nervous smile.
You
like it well.
Yeah, you never know if
Got it
he's
safe.
happy, sad, nervous, glad, or just says,
and then we were at the poorhouse, and we talked for an hour, and he asked me if he could have my daughter's hand in marriage, and we talked for an hour. And the next day he texted me and he says, "Oh, we had a great talk yesterday. It was awesome." I can't believe it. And I just texted him back, "I was so drunk. I don't remember one thing." I'm like texting him, I don't even remember one thing I said.
I was like, I have to do it again.
He was like,
You told me that after, like you proposed. I was like,
"That's so disappointing." He didn't get me then, but.
I'm dying.
And he's already entering the game with one strike against him.
Yeah.
Very, very tough. I'll make a lot of baseball references tonight, and it's very tough to bat with 1 or 2 strikes against you. But he enters marriage with 1 strike. These 3 text me, "Hey, we're going down to the poorhouse. You're coming home from work. We'll meet you out front." I'm like, yeah.
oh,
So I come home, I drive up. They're waiting right in front of my house, waiting to drive me to the poorhouse. And I pull up right in front of them. Okay, I get out of the car, be right there. I went up to the house, I get dressed. 2 minutes. I come down, halfway down the steps, and Michael just looks at me like this, and he just coasts and drives away. Drives away, and I'm halfway down the steps, and I'm like, I felt like Timmy Lopez from the Bad News Bears, the right fielder from the Bad News Bears. He listens to the Queen and the Princess.
You can't do
He
much.
gets caught into. You can't do much. Now that you're my son, you and I need to have a special relationship. So
Always have each other.
you already have 1 strike against you.
he's always gonna
Do not
listen. to us.
I'm gonna listen.
The princess.
You're gonna have to right over that.
I will.
Gotta listen.
It's tough. Two of them.
Come, Ronnie, you're doing good.
I'll never forget your face.
I could see your face.
That's
Mike.
burned in my head.
He was pretty savage though.
We were so hungry, we needed those fish and chips.
Yeah. All right. Now, so yeah, the next story is, Michael gets into everything. He tries everything.
Yeah.
And one day he calls me. He goes, I think Lauren needs Jesus in her life.
Shut up.
I'm like,
No way.
wait, that's not even like you. Why are you saying that? Are you serious? He's like, no, I just think she needs Jesus. And I'm like, well, you're right, she does. And he's like, we start talking about Jesus and stuff, and he's like, well, I don't know. I can't believe that he's the Son of God and all that crap. I just can't get into it. And I'm like, listen to me. I said, just open your heart. I said, just ask him for a sign, all right? For a sign, and he'll get it.
Exorcism going down there.
He's like, I don't know. So that day, I don't know if he asked for the sign, but I did. I actually prayed for the sign. I said, you know what, God, just show him the sign. Show him you're real. Show him the sign. So we go to Lowe's.
That's where you find the
It is
sign.
not 1 hour later.
They built the sign.
It's not 1 hour later. We walk out of Lowe's and we hit this unbelievable double rainbow staring us right in the face. It was so bright. And we walked out and we went,
As soon as we walked out the door,
I mean, we just stared at
it
it
was in
for
our
like
face.
10 minutes, and I just like turned to him. I go, man,
There's your sign.
I want to know why.
Exhibit B.
Oh, wow.
So that's where he found the pot of gold. She was at the end of it.
I think so.
Mike,
Lauren was at the end of the pot of gold.
you're a calming figure in Lauren's life,
Yeah. there you
and
go.
I don't know if that's why she's attracted to you. But that's why I'm attracted.
If you're ever stuck in an elevator.
So
Gang back.
this one's for Chris, Lauren, and Michael. I'm 53, and my mother has cooked for me for first 28 years of my life, and my wife has cooked for me for the last 25 years of my life.
Who cooks?
And I'm not talking about frozen dinners. These are like gourmet meals, all right?
She does cook great meals.
And the past few years, Lauren and Michael and Chris and I, we break bread probably about 3 or 4 times a week. And I don't want that to ever stop. And we say grace before dinner, and I am now handing over the grace to you. You're going to be the one who, gets everyone together, and you're going to be the one who says the grace, and it's not me anymore. And I always said my mother, I always make baseball references, and I always said my mother was Hank Aaron as far as cooking, and my wife was Ken Griffey Jr. Meaning, Hank Aaron was the greatest home run hitter of all time, but my wife is the up and coming Ken Griffey Jr. And I do want to say that Michael is now Mike Trout. He is one And if you know about baseball, that's a pretty good
That's
compliment.
big
buddy.
shit.
Daddy's home.
Alright, here's my advice on marriage, which I have no business giving advice on marriage. No business. Love one another, hug one another, forgive one another. The first 3. Love one another was my father's favorite saying.
You decide to love every day.
I have loved one another engraved in my ring on the inside. And my son just got a love one another necklace tattooed on his neck. So if he ends up jumping into the pool tonight, you'll see it. It's self-explanatory. Love one another, self-explanatory. It's just how Paul with the Corinthians today. That's how we should love. Forgive one another. Forgive one another. My wife and I don't get into a fight, and I'll walk up to her and I'll say, "Oh, baby, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I should have never did that, and I'm sorry." And she'll go, "But why did you do that? Ronnie, why did you do that?" She sounds like, you ever see Goodfellas? You remember Karen's flushed the Coke down the toilet? It was like, "Karen! Why did you do that? It's all we had, Karen!" Married me. That is not how you forget. Somebody comes up.
You give her all your hours, you promise I'm dating.
That is not how you forgive. If somebody does something wrong, if somebody says I'm sorry, you need to just say I'm sorry back.
You're right.
Lesson learned, Chris.
Yeah, well, give me another look.
Okay.
Hug one another. I grew up in a household of 9. We had 7 siblings, and my mother and father would just sit in the middle of the kitchen, and they would just hug each other for like a minute long. It would be so long.
Our kids.
And I'd come in, there'd be people like coming in and walking by, and they'd be like,
His
"We're
hands
going to the
brown
garage."
too, all the way down her back.
my dad.
Love that.
Yeah.
There'd be kids coming in, and we'd like be in the garage, and they'd be like, "What's your mom and dad doing?" And they would just sit there, they wouldn't even say anything, they would just sit there in the middle of the kitchen, and they would just hug each other affectionately in front of everybody. And the longer you do it, the more effective it is. And when my father passed away, my brother did his eulogy. And he said about my dad didn't verbalize often that he loved you, but when he hugged you, you heard him loud and clear. The last two are, no matter what, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. It's too different. No matter what is something I did with my son. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 9th inning. My son's up. Coaching third base. He's nervous, you know. This is like big time moment, and I call timeout. I bring him down here. He's nervous. He's like, what am I doing? I'm like, "Son, look at me." I said, "There are people dying and they are sick. I do not care what you do. Okay? No matter what, I love you. I don't care. Tomorrow we're gonna wake up. Everything's gonna be all right. I don't care if you strike out or not. No matter what, don't worry. Don't fret the little things in life. Okay? No matter what. Don't worry, everything's gonna be all right." is what I say all the time. I say it to texts. I say it all the time. I mean, we worry about getting over here on the plane. We worry about this dinner. We worry about how long it took between meals.
It was all right.
No matter what, we
It's
have a
just,
brand.
don't worry. There's just so many things in life. And there's a verse
You're
in the
right,
Bible.
Ronnie.
There's a
You
verse-
are absolutely right.
There's a verse in the Bible that says, "And which one of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life?" So, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. All right, and my last story is the story that you almost ruined it.
I preempted it, don't worry. It's okay.
We lived in McKees Rocks when I met Lauren when she was 4.
The rocks.
And I don't know if you've ever been, but it's a cute, quaint little town.
Yeah,
outside
it's so
Pittsburgh.
sweet. Where's my girl Sal?
Sally.
She does.
I live in McKees Rocks because of this one.
And I'm watching Lauren, and Chris is out shopping, and it's just Lauren and I. And
I was in school. I
She's
wasn't shopping. No. Where's Marty?
yeah. So she's not with us, and it's just Lauren and I, and she's 4. And 2 guys decide to have a gunfight in my backyard. Okay. So I'm freaking out. Boom, 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 boom. I lock the doors. I grab Lauren. I'm scared out of my wits. I pick her up. I run upstairs. I run into her bedroom. I lock the bedroom door, and it's just boom, boom, boom. And if you ever heard gunfire that close, it's terrifying. And I'm sitting in between the beds, and I've got Lauren on the floor, and I'm holding her, and I'm shaking. I can see the lights from the guns going off in the window. And I'm holding her, and I'm shaking. And she looks up at me and says, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be all right."
That's good.